Welcome back and thank you for staying with Inside Politics. We continue with the deliberations right here on the round table. I'm joined by Kiroga Thuku, who's the MC of Chingawa, Nyeri County, and equally the chairperson of UDA MCA's caucus and a member of the UDA NEC. Equally joined by Nerima Wako, the executive director of Siasa Place, Eliud Ngugi, advocate of the High Court, and Emoru Moses Wellington, who is a political analyst. And right now we want to focus on Parliament because members of Parliament have definitely been on the receiving end, especially those who might have voted yes to the Finance Bill 2024, especially after President William Ruto conceded to the requests of Kenyans. They were left exposed in terms of supporting something, and then later on it has been shot down. So let's just listen into some of the sentiments that were witnessed in Parliament during the voting and equally after.
195, nays 106, abstentions nil, spoiled votes 3. The ayes have it.
Kuna njia ambayo tulikosea, sisi ambao tulipiga yes, tunaomba msamaha. Hivyo ndio ningependa kusema, na pia rais, jinsi ambavyo umesema ya kwamba wacha turudi tena kwa maneno ya mazungumzo, pia sisi tukiwa foot soldiers wako, tunaomba msamaha kwa niaba yako pia.
Interesting. So some members of Parliament have retracted their vote and are asking for forgiveness, rather. So it begs the question, is Parliament an appendage of the executive? Do they listen to what the party prescribes, or do they listen to the people at the end of the day? So perhaps let's start with Nerima Wako on this, because looking at the president's speech, even on Wednesday when he conceded, the members of Parliament, interestingly, were quite jovial, clapping right behind the president. And you could hear once he concedes and says, we'll withdraw these clauses, they were quite jubilant about it. And what would beg the question, are this the same people who were adamantly pushing for the passing of this finance bill? They've been left exposed. And equally, we heard from the deputy president mentioning, don't blame these members of Parliament. They are loyal to the party. So should they be loyal to the people, you know?
They should be loyal to the people. First of all, MPs were thrown under the bus. That's just what happened. And as they were clapping back there, when I was watching it with a few other friends, they were so upset at look at them clapping. They look very foolish. We've been telling them this whole time and they were not listening to us. So for me, it gives me so much joy to see them using creative ways of asking for forgiveness. I know you've seen the videos or images of one wearing a t-shirt saying, I'm sorry, with his wife. It's hilarious. But I do think that we are questioning the power of our constitution. Our constitution gives so much direct power to the people. We are leaving it. I think that now this generation is testing the constitution and its powers. They should be loyal to the people. There are instances where there's party loyalty, but on this particular matter, it was to be loyal to the people. There is the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, which typically is the youth caucus of Parliament. So we are beginning to question, where is their voice? The young MPs, not all of them who belong to UDA actually voted yes. And for me, that was a very interesting dynamic because it means that it was young people listening to young people, but you're not seeing those stories being highlighted. So not the entire party listened to their party leader. And that's encouraging. It's showing that even though a number of them were young, it's showing that they want to live and breathe the constitution and the role that they play as representatives. But it's also changing dynamics of what is the essence of our party. We are dealing with also a generation that believes in the freedom of expression. A lot of the organizing has been online. A lot of the doxing has been online. The campaigns they've been doing have been online. So that also means public participation, the fact that people are engaging, and it's not physical engagement. This is online engagement. And some of the feedback we've been seeing is, if we continue with this momentum, MPs are going to find it very hard to agree to things without knowing the pulse of their people. because they are being watched. We have opened a Pandora's box of knowing who your members are. People didn't know who their representatives were. A lot of young people didn't vote. So now that they know who they are more keen about registering to vote. And that's why the recent conversations have been around reconstitution of IBC. I think we have revived a demographic in our country that was a little bit aloof and bubbled. But now they're seeing, because of the way things are being managed, they want to engage and be involved. It's going to be a lot harder, especially for your party, to tell representatives what to do. A lot harder.
And as you come in, what we saw in terms of members of parliament supporting the finance bill and then later on supporting the president as he considered, was that a confirmation that members of parliament are puppets of the executive? Yes or no?
No.
Start there.
No.
Why?
Thank you. And my brother here called me a liar on live TV. I want to say I'm a very good Christian. Of course, we all depend on God's judgment, so I will not say I'm a very good person, but it's not good to say I'm a liar on live TV. I cannot call him so, even though we have.
Okay.
So it's not good. It's always good to be courteous to one another, even as we differ. Now, the issue is this, my brother Rogers. As a person, I don't think I'm faulting our people for saying, fine, we don't want this finance bill. And there is one key word I keep mentioning here. Dialogue. Because through dialogue, you get a chance to respectively hear why I did something in the way I did, and I get a chance to listen to you and hear why you think I should not have done what I did. If I was a member of parliament, and if I voted yes, I would not have apologized. I would have explained to my people, and even before casting that vote, I would have gone to my people and explained to them, look, we have a bill here by my party. It's saying this and this and this. I'm going to vote yes because I believe it's in the best interest of the people I read.
Despite the people telling you it's not in our best
look,
interest.
They would tell me,
that's where
look, I'm saying I'll go to the people.
Yes. And will you listen to them or tell them?
I will.
So if they tell you it's not good, will you still vote yes?
No,
if you're in that position.
They came and told me that.
Yes.
For example.
Now that's why they're apologizing.
Look. Okay, fine. They can.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, in fact, as a person, in the neck of the party, I would go to my people.
Yes.
I would ask them, do we need the Mombasa Road to be completed? They would be telling me yes.
True.
We need them completed. Do you want the Mairoine, the Mulene Kairos, the Shiga Dam, the Rurugoti? Do you need those roads completed? They will tell me yes. Now, if the party is saying in its manifesto it wants to do infrastructural development, right? And all the other developments we are talking about, the Udaya level 6 hospital, we are talking about Shagashisha irrigation scheme. Do we need money for this project? Yes, we do. I would ask my people, do you think then the government needs a strategy to do these projects? They would say yes. Then they would accordingly tell me, go in a certain way. I think, and my sister here, I like the way she has said, that we might be opening a new way of doing things, such that members, even when there is a party position, they go, they interact with their people, they discuss, they get feedback from the people, they come back to the party, we discuss as a party. If there are any challenges, we discuss with the party leader, with the deputy party leader, because again, we cannot overlook the fact that, for example, the people of Chinga, and I've just told you, this week we were on site doing bridges, doing street lights. Before that, we were doing crop production, boosting crop production. We were distributing manure to all the people of my ward. So, it's just about, coming together with your people, informing, giving them the right information. Because, for example, now, we are saying we need JSS teachers to be employed. We are saying we need doctors who are even striking because we need intern doctors in our hospitals. A lot of development is needed in our hospital. We need to equip our medical facilities with various equipments, Okay. And we must get money from somewhere. And that is why, maybe at the end of the day, we might discuss with Gen Zs and they may say, fine, we have heard you. Go and do this to a certain extent. That is why dialogue will always be proved light.
Okay, interesting. Willington, come in briefly.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I like the fact, the gameplay here, that you give me an opportunity to speak immediately after my friend Kiruga. And I like the conversation about politics. And I want to address my friend Kiruga and the ilks of the people that think in his way. I want to categorize generations here. We have the Generation X, the millennials, Gen Z, right? And which one have I left?
The boomers
Baby boomers.
Alpha is after.
Okay, the Alpha is the one coming.
Yes.
Let me tell you the difference first of the Gen Z and the Generation X. I don't know where you belong anyway.
A Gen Z.
You being a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Oh, this is hilarious now.
Okay, proceed.
Listen to me, brother. The Generation X, we say them days, those days. Everything was fear your teacher, fear your chief, fear your father, fear everyone, fear authority. That was the training. The Gen Zs, the training is be courageous, confront, do this. So it's not a generation that you just want to talk about. These are people who want to see things being done. And I want to applaud President Uhuru Kenyatta did something in his second term that actually calmed the situation. Do you guys remember Kazi kwa Vijana? Do you know that thing helped a lot? And that's what people are not noticing. I wish that when this new government came on board, recreated the Kazi kwa Vijana, possibly if they never wanted to use the name Kazi kwa Vijana, they would have modified it into something that would have actually engaged. So many people are outside there, no jobs, nothing, no hope. And the UDA government came into power with a lot of hope to the generations, to the people who are border borders. There are a lot of people with master's degrees right now, border borders, selling bananas, on the street. Everybody has come out on the street. We have the photo studios these days on the street. Everything is on the street. Yeah. And when the new government came on board, they sent a lot of hope and people had a lot of expectations. Now, the only problem here that has arisen is how to manage this expectation. Because indeed, there is very little that has been done to actually maintain the situation. Okay. So my advice has been, if I were in the position of my friend Kiruga, because he's in a better position to advise even the party. I'm a member of that party, but I don't have a position or a capacity or a platform to actually raise issues in the party so that I can be listened to. You understand? So I wish in his position, he would be advising the party to even reignite or restart the project of Kazi kwa Vijana, but in another way, possibly if they want something flashy. Okay. That would actually engage the youth. Hold on a minute, give me another minute. Huh? And then there is also this issue of Wamama, Linda Mama. The Linda Mama program was very helpful. The Linda Mama program has been extremely helpful. And I am seeing these programs that are very helpful to the common mwananchi being messed up. So people are becoming desperate and hopeless. And even though we give them hope, people are becoming hopeless. Then again, let me highlight, that's the one reason why I said that the president is one of the best presidents. He's very active and very creative and very intelligent. However, the ideas, how they have been inculcated or implemented, have not actually touched the people or brought anything new that people can feel that hope has been set. For example, the SME, how do we call this State Department? SMEMs. SMEs. You see that program? It was one of the best programs that was brought on board. But I wish, like, if you look at a country like China, how they have managed their populations. People have master's degrees, but somebody finishes a master's degree, gets employed in an electronic shop, but they don't complain. They become very proud that I have a job. You understand? They embrace it as a job because there's a way it has been structured. There is no nepotism. But today, ukipata, if you find someone, maybe I'm a Kikuyu, I'm employing my fellow Kikuyu, my relative. So even those people coming outside there don't have anywhere they can get money. So if this program of SMEs was structured very well in such a way that we are not just giving money, but we are setting up things. For example, we set up areas like where we have the SGR, we build structures there where we have shops, a bus station, you know, buses, underground, basement, and whatever. Okay. Then we go to a place like Ngara. Also, set up a stage there and place very decent structures. Yeah. People will be doing business. We could not be seeing people in the streets.
So perhaps you're pointing to the bigger picture that the priority areas so far are wanting in terms of the development projects that are being started in the country and whatnot.
And how to address the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wakili, as you come in and add to what has been said, is the message being convoluted in terms of why exactly Gen Z went to the streets? It started with reject finance bill. It's mutated sort of to, we've had a chance of Ruto must go. Is it the critical issues that were raised initially and have been sustained, or are we seeing it morphing into something totally different? And that's why the president is saying we will follow those criminal elements, treasonous, you know. Talk to us about
First,
it.
I need to respond to him because he's saying things which I think are making me wonder whether we, or rather, I want to say, maybe we need to wake up from the dream and look at the reality on the ground and today. When the president came into power, one of the things he sold to the people was, this is a hustler government. He came to the hustlers, Mama Mboga, Boda Boda riders, promised them that they will be part of his government. 2 years on, nothing of that sort has been seen. You cannot show me, or my friend here cannot show me, any Boda Boda rider, any Mama Mboga who is in that government. All we have seen are some of his cronies or some of the politicians who are marred with corruption cases being part of this government. And so I don't know where my friend is speaking from, because we cannot credit President William Ruto to be the best president in Africa. A president who cannot admit that there is a extrajudicial killing happening in a week when he comes to address the nation and apologize and say, I know something has happened, and it's not just the small number, because he stated 9 people had died. 6 people had died in a week where we saw on live television, and I was watching KTN, and I saw the police shooting people. And so how can such a person, and the following night we see children being shot, how can such a person be the best president in Africa? We can't have such a president in this country. And I agree totally with the Generation Z that has come out and said when they were coming out agitating the finance bill. And the reason why they came out is because under Article 10 of our Constitution that allows public participation, memorandums had been sent out in our daily papers, in the Standards. They were posted, people were called to Kamukunjis, members of parliament sat in hotels listening to stakeholders, listening to everybody. We even received emails from some of us who said, this finance bill is not right. And after receiving all this information, they ignored it. I actually had an encounter with one of the MPs, one of my age mates in parliament, who told me from nowhere, I was actually not having that conversation with him, but he stood on top of his car and he said, tunaenda kuwafinya na hii finance bill. And I wondered, First of all, you have not even said hi to me, and you're just shouting at me and saying, "Nena kutufinya." And you can see the kind of arrogance that these members of parliament had.
But you know what the MPs are saying? You're asking for development back at home. Where does this money come from? That's the point he's been raising time and time
so
again.
The money has been there. And let's go back to a few weeks where we have seen the president and the papers write and tell us the truth, how the president was spending hundreds of millions chartering a plane around visiting other countries. We have seen on social media, we have seen it in reality. Every single morning you wake up, what comes to you when you read the newspaper is that the president is traveling. Meaning, money is being spent out. There's money that is being wasted. Yet, they came into power and said that they found empty coffers. They didn't have any money. When you watch the national events, instead of this government saying, hey, let's pause, let's have this National Labor Day in State House to save the cost, they end up, you just see flashy cars, 2022 models and 2023 models of Land Cruisers and Mercedes-Benzes being driven in. Cars worth more than 40 million shillings are being owned by these politicians. And you ask yourself, wait, why are you claiming that there is no money? And so some of these MPs failed in their legislation duty where they were meant, when they went in, the first 100 days, what they should have done was make sure that they cut the cost, make sure that they make noise and reduce the expenditure, because they have that power as legislatures. They have a power to say, hey, this money, we need to apportion this amount of money. And this money in our allocated to the CDF that they can utilize properly.
Okay, so just hold, because Nerima, the issue seems to be, we were told they found empty coffers. But what we've gathered from Wakili here is they don't seem to be rolling around as if this country really has empty coffers. So talk to us about the aspect of accountability, because it will equally come to play out going forward in case this dialogue will be a success. The issues that will be raised will need to be implemented. Accountability in terms of the debt register. Kenyans have been asking for it to be made public. You know,
it should be public information. We should know who we owe, how much we owe, how much we have reached in terms of repayment. But also we are well aware that a lot of the budgets are inflated, especially in infrastructure. So even when we're talking about development, that's where the money is being stolen. I mean, there's even a typical example of SGR and the Kenyan cost of it, the Ethiopian cost of it, it's way overboard. And so these are the things that we're concerned about. But the reality, you know, is what Eliud is talking about, the reality of dialogue. Even we don't respect young people in this country. In fact, we mistreat them. So now you're here saying, even our own politics, there's a whole council of elders that decides who the community should support. And it's very rarely a young person. Let's be frank. So even when we're talking about dialogue, you're telling a generation that is ignored that now we want to listen to you. How is that something to trust? There's a lot of ageism in our country. And even for me, myself, it's very difficult to be taken seriously on a lot of issues until I had to prove that I have a mind of my own and I'm smart. And that's when now people are like, okay, this chick, she has something to say. And so it's not going to work because the structure has never worked for young people.
Okay.
It's not.
We need to take a break. But as we come back, I'll pose a question to you. The issue about budgeted corruption. And then the issue about not taking this youth seriously, yet now you're calling them to the table for a conversation. We have to pay the bills. We'll be back in a few. Keep it inside politics. Remember, we'll equally open up the phone lines, so feel free to give us a call. The number will be displayed on our screens in just but a few. We take that break, we'll be back.